Good morning, everyone. Darius Dale here to present our macro minute for Monday, December 27th, 2021. Starting with markets this morning, we got stocks mixed, commodities down, crypto down, dollar up, global bond yields mixed. Big movers this morning, not a ton going on, but silver and WTI crude oil down over 1% apiece. On the economic front, we got a deep dive on the evolving state of the U.S. consumer via Thursday's November PCE data, personal consumption expenditures. So I thought there were four key themes to unpack. So number one, you had goods consumption crashing, which was portended by the November retail sales data. Taking it to the chart, we saw the goods PCE on a seasonally adjusted annualized basis, that SAR slowed to minus 8.83%. That's the lowest figure we've seen since July 21. Second theme, we had services consumption steadily improving, but not enough to keep the overall spending at an above trend pace. So real PCE, that SAR ticked up to 5.7%. That's the highest print we've seen since August. But the overall consumer spending, real PCE headline, actually that SAR slowed to 0.4%. So that's the lowest we've seen since July. So no growth at all on an annualized basis and consumer spending in November, in a big month, obviously, for holiday spending. Theme number three, price pressures were sticky, but they're decelerating. So the headline PCE price index, that SAR slowed to 7.6%. That's the lowest number we've seen in a couple of months. Same deal with core PCE, the Fed's preferred inflation metric. That SAR slowed to 5.7%. That's the lowest we've seen since September as well. And then lastly, we had incomes not really keeping pace with inflation for the average household. So real disposable personal income per capita, it accelerated, but it's still down 0.2% on a year-over-year basis. So that's obviously an issue heading into next year with some pretty tough comps. With respect to today's probable range setups, overbought signal in the 10-year bond yield, 10-year Swiss yield, oversold signal in the currency volatility in the dollar versus Mexican peso. S&P 500's bullish VAMs minus 2.7% downside versus 3.8% of upside. WTI bearish VAMs minus 13% of downside versus 2% of upside. Bloomberg Dollar Index bullish VAMs minus 0.2% of downside versus 1.5% of upside. 10-year Treasury yield snuck back into bullish VAMs territory, minus 9 basis points of downside versus 15 basis points of upside. Bitcoin still neutral VAMs minus 12% of downside versus 5% of upside. Ethereum neutral VAMs minus 12% of downside versus 9% of upside. And then lastly, gold still neutral, minus 1.7% of downside versus 1.8% of upside. So with that, Darius Dale presenting our macro minute for Monday, December 27, 2021. Hope everyone's having a wonderful holiday season out there.